A is for...
Apple.
Okay.
Apple.
B?
Bike.
Sure. How about C? You're going to have to edit that out, man. You cannot say that.
Welcome. We are Neil,
Luke.
And Dave.
340-somethings, reminiscing on the runners and riders of 90s guitar music.
We look at the bands who soundtracked our youth on both sides of the pond and interview some of our heroes from the bands that defined a generation.
You'll hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 90s guitar music.
This podcast is Stupid and Contagious. Episode 37 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. Whose idea was it? I can't remember now. Luke's idea. The Facebook group is always really friendly, so we thought, why don't we get you guys involved? So we put a message out in the group and asked. Basically, it's just an Ask Us Anything episode. Not that many people probably really give a shit about me, Luke and Dave, but you know.
Yeah, I do feel a bit of a wanker, as if like we're normal enough for people to care.
Is it just our mums that have asked something?
So yeah, we've basically just done this to make ourselves feel better. We ask our guests a lot of questions we just thought that people might be interested in.
Tell them the real reason why we've done it.
Why is the real reason we've done it?
The real reason is Neil's going to be very busy next weekend. He had to do the wang a bit early. And this was a good idea for having a wang that we didn't have to prepare for. That's the truth.
That gets us off the hook, so that's good.
I feel really exposed, not having any notes in front of me, not having preparation. I feel naked coming into a wang without any research.
That's how I feel every time.
Yeah, welcome to Dave's world.
So me and Dave haven't seen any of the questions, but Neil is going to curate them. Is that right?
I've seen one of them, so I'll know if he leaves it out.
There's some good ones on there. I think we've got enough to create a wang out of. But before we get into the wang, anything exciting happened to anyone since last time?
I did a good deed and I went to my mum's and cleaned her patio.
Is that a euphemism?
With a power wash.
Jet wash. One of those, yeah. Is
that a euphemism?
Shut up. Don't start on the mum jokes.
I've noticed you didn't answer the question.
Yeah, did you get your jet wash out?
Bet you did.
All over her patio.
Oh, shut up.
What? You said you cleaned her patio?
Did you give it a right seeing to?
Do you want me to do your mum's patio?
Nah.
Again?
That's very kind of you, Dave. That's what sons do, isn't it? Luke, anything exciting?
Nah, just been to work. Well, I didn't actually do any work, but I went into the office. I physically went there. I tell you what, though, on the way home,
there we go.
I don't know if you can see it. I went to buy a new hat because it's getting really hot over here now. It's like 26 degrees today, and so I have to cycle to work every day. So I don't want to get sunburned.
What do you mean? Hang on. What do you mean? What do you mean a hat? What sort of hat?
It's like a baseball cap, which I'm not proud of. I'm very much with the Libertines on this one. There's no more depressing sight than that of an Englishman in a baseball cap. And I'm broadly in agreement with that, but it needs must, you know. You got no choice.
Some people can pull it off, can't they? Some people can. It's a very specific look. I can imagine future episode guest James Atkins. I think he does wear caps, doesn't he, in EMF? And he looks good in a cap, but I could never do it.
I'm just about to get away with it. I just put it just when I'm cycling. Anyway, so on the way home, I stopped off at the 100 yen shop, which is like the pound shop. To buy a new cap. That's where I get my caps. And next to it, there's a second-hand shop that sells all kinds of stuff, and they got records. So I was just having a flick through the records. It's all crap. There was 10 Olivia Newton-John albums in there. But anyway, I came across this Japanese kind of vocal group from 1981 called the Chanels. Look at that. They're in blackface.
Wow. Yeah, you can't do that, can you? You can't do that.
You can't. And there's another one on the back cover where half of them are in blackface and half of them aren't. That's
oh dear!
I mean,
yeah.
Even in 1981, that wasn't acceptable, right?
I'm not sure. I think 81 it probably was.
Anyway, took a photo. It is outrageous though. I've got this ABC book from when I was a kid. And I got it from my mum's house like a few years ago. It's so if you're making an ABC book for children, so imagine, okay, this book was printed in 1973. If you're making a book for children, A is for
Right, they all racist.
only one. A is for
Apple.
Okay.
Apple.
B,
Bike.
sure. How about C? You're going to have to edit that out, man. You cannot say that.
I only said that because I know it was going to be a racist one.
It's not that bad. It's the one in the book is Chinaman, and it's got this ridiculous stereotypical picture with these huge buck teeth balancing like a hat, balancing like a thing on his shoulders of like. It's just outrageous. And they're so proud of it. There's a bigger picture on the back of the book as well, the same picture, Chinaman.
It's not even very pedagogical, is it? You know,
No.
when you teach a C to use the ch sound.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
They just wanted to use it. Yeah. Not a good example. Outrageous.
Neil's hair is even more like John Robb's today.
Yeah, no, I've been inspired by the interview.
Yeah.
He does look good, doesn't he?
Said he's like 62, 63. Looks good. Yeah.
Might copy him exactly.
He wears like a waistcoat over a bare chest. Do you reckon you could pull that look off?
Well, he could. I reckon he could.
I swim a lot at the moment, so I'm not too bad. So might give it a go.
Okay. Next week's podcast. Look forward to it.
One thing I wanted to mention, it popped up on my TikTok this morning. A lot of people have been talking about Blur's performance at Coachella.
I saw that.
The crowd was terrible. Yeah, they looked a bit disappointed on stage.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, the crowd just wasn't really, the interaction wasn't quite up to the British standards, I don't think. Is that right, Luke?
Yeah, basically, it's trying to do a bit of like crowd participation and stuff, and it was just basically completely silent. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not coming back."
Yeah, like song 2 with the ooh bit. He was sort of doing the mic into the audience, and it just wasn't coming back.
It's a difficult one, right? Because I mean, you do feel sorry for him, but then you think, well, who the fuck do you think you are? You know, if you're, it's 30 years ago. You know, it's like us not singing along to George Formby or something, right? But at the same time, it's Blur, man. Come on.
I think in America, Gorillaz are really are bigger than Blur. I think they like Gorillaz more. I think Gorillaz might have been due to play, and then I think Blur played instead. I think
but still, they're a great live band, even if you don't know them that well. Come on,
they look cool as fuck. Like Damon's wearing like this white suit or something. They did look good. Harry Styles got a good reception there.
I'm on a bit of Harry.
He flew the flag for the Brits. So should we get into these questions?
Yeah.
Come on, give me something. Should we get into these questions?
All right.
This is like Blur at Coachella. First question from Anonymous is...
Anonymous? What were their parents thinking?
They're a hero.
Why is Neil so amazing and the other two such jerk-offs?
I mean, that's a difficult question to answer, isn't it, Dave?
Is that a real question?
Yeah.
It's from an anonymous source. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's his natural charm, good looks.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Intelligent. It doesn't really explain why the other two are jerk-offs, though.
You just are, I guess.
Can you repeat the question?
Why is Neil so amazing and the other two such jerk-offs?
A bit like Neil says, you know, how subjective music is, isn't it? He always says that.
I do say that, yeah.
It's a bit like that with people, I suppose.
I guess.
It's true.
I guess.
Yeah.
One man's legend is another man's jerk-off, I guess.
Yeah.
Wonder who that was, eh? What a fucker.
No idea. I know. Next question. This is from Ian Laurie, fellow Main Street member. He says this is probably the most predictable question, but what was the best gig that you have attended? And the question goes to all of us. Luke, do you want to go first?
Yeah. It's between two, but I think it's either Atari Teenage Riot at the Albert in Brighton. Or I think it's probably my, well, haven't mentioned him for a couple of episodes. It's probably my guy, Ian Svenonius, with the makeup. No, listen. So they played this it's just like, I don't know what it was. It's like a village hall kind of thing, in the back of Brighton, by
okay.
I don't really know where, just up one of the side streets towards Moulscombe, basically. So there was no stage. They were selling just like snacks out of like a little mini kitchen at the back, and they had they had like a trestle table for a stage, basically. And Ian spent the whole gig basically on top of the crowd, and it just put on this incredible kind of punk rock, soul, indie, rock and roll show. It's just the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I got to chat with him after as well. So just great.
Yeah, I do like that when they do something a little bit different. Like for a while I was filming the old sofa gigs. Have you heard anything about those? They're quite big.
Yeah, sofa sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. And I quite like that concept where you just go around people's houses and put a gig on and stuff. It's different, isn't it?
So that's my answer. The makeup at a little village hall in Brighton.
Dave, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about it while Luke was answering. I'm really torn between saying that Levelers gig, the first one ever. It was just
you got a nosebleed.
Well,
Christmas
I didn't.
Christmas night.
That's where I trace back all my nosebleeds from.
Right, sure.
Just going mental at that gig.
Yeah,
that was
with you guys.
It was good, man. It was fucking good, wasn't it?
But then one of the other one that comes to mind was one I wasn't expecting to enjoy was Terrorvision. That was really good in Brixton Academy.
I was never a massive Terrorvision fan, but I saw them at Shine On. They were really good. So I can imagine that would have been at their peak of popularity then when you went to see them.
And it's just, when something exceeds your expectations, it adds to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. I'd like to see that.
Good answer. Well, I'm going to go Alice in Chains at Brixton Academy.
Brixton Academy.
You had a great description of them in the other
I did.
episode we had. No, it was good.
So, yeah, go back and listen. I can't remember which episode it was.
It's a grunge episode, I guess.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
it was really good. It was. And, we were lucky to see them before he kind of descended into the abyss.
Yeah, it was just great. It was just perfect timing.
See what I watched their Unplugged last week. I'd never seen it. It is really good, yeah. But they've just reissued Jar of Flies. I guess it must be 30th anniversary. They just reissued it on vinyl.
It must be around there.
And I bought it, and I just had Alice in Chains in my head for the last couple of weeks. So.
Oh yeah, the Unplugged one is second only to the Nirvana one. I think it's good.
Oh, that's what prompted me, man. That tune, Nutshell, on Jar of Flies. That's like as good as anything they ever wrote, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite. And that's the song that they came onto for that gig. But that was before we'd ever heard it, really. Silhouettes, Nutshell, bang into whatever with the cargo net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So, that was my favourite.
Was that at Brixton as well?
Brixton Academy, yeah.
I like the way we all had completely different answers that
it's good.
that reflected our personalities and tastes. It's great.
There you go.
Come on, next one.
Right, so we've got a next question is from another Dave, from a Dave Tetley Prince, and he said, "What was the most important music slanted show of the 90s? For example, MTV's Most Wanted, Pugwall's Summer, California Dreams, Top
nobody
of the Pops,
tell me what to do.
Ozone, The Word, TFI Friday." So let's answer that one first.
There's some great examples in there.
Summer.
Pugwall was brilliant.
We loved it, didn't we?
Bass player pumping, keyboard, something like that. Yeah,
me too.
Keyboards and
guitar.
me, like that. Yeah. Pugwall was good, and everyone fancied Jenny.
Tell me
didn't
what
they?
to do. Yeah, no,
Everyone
not
fancied
me.
Jenny. I mean, we always bang on about Top of the Pops, don't we? I think
It's got to be just because it was so enduring and it was from such a young age, right?
Important. I'd say Top of the Pops.
Yeah,
Could make or break a band in this country, right?
But it's not of the 90s.
Well, it was.
It was around in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they showcased all the bands that we loved, right? Remember Nirvana on there with Kurt doing the old all that kind of, then all the funny voice and that. It's brilliant.
Then there's the word as well, though, isn't there?
I think the word's better example because it's just purely 90s.
Pure 90s.
Right, and it had that anarchic spirit behind it, right? But also, I had MTV, right? So remember like Ray Cokes and MTV Most Wanted and stuff. All the mullet wall and all that kind of shit. We loved all of that, right? It's brilliant.
You were the only person in the world with satellite TV at that time, so it was quite
in our world.
Your mum must have been a millionaire. Must have been a fortune back then.
Maybe she, maybe she didn't pay for it. Went round Clearview and just got it for free somehow.
Maybe.
What are you insinuating?
I don't know, maybe she cleaned a bit for Clearview, remember then?
He's just trying to get back at us for the
I know he is.
Maybe we did get a leg up because you had MTV, because not many people really had it, did they? So, but we used to see all of that. So maybe we did get a bit more of an insight, especially to that side, the other side of the Atlantic sort of thing.
Definitely.
I mean, we would have never hung around with Luke if he hadn't had stuff.
He had satellite TV and he had an Amiga, so
Yeah.
We'll go with the word then, shall we?
We can all have different answers, but let's say, as a collective, let's say the word.
Yeah. California Dreams. Good mention of California Dreams.
Yeah, man. Don't wake me up if I'm dreaming. I love that.
It's like a poor man's version of Saved by the Bell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But Dave's also got another question for each of us. If you had to pick one song to play to someone, an alien or born after the 90s, that summed up everything the 90s is and could be, what would it be? Good question.
So
a song that encompasses the 90s.
That's impossible. Oh, my God.
We've got to answer it. Dave's asked for an answer.
We do.
We've got to give it.
We can give a different answer each if we want, I guess.
Well, it says for each
to give
of us.
one. Yeah.
No, it says for each of us. So.
I reckon it have to be, is it called Disco 2000 Pulp Song?
Yeah.
Let's all meet up in the year 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good hit, mate. That's a good hit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because it was all about looking forward to the year 2000, wasn't it? The 90s.
Yeah. You had like the KLF did that, that Millennium Bug and all of that. Millennium Bug.
I can choose a pulp song as well, right? Can't I?
Yeah.
Different one.
No, you can't.
No,
because I did.
I always thought, although it's more 80s, no, it is 90s. Ease and Whiz is a great song.
Sorted for Ease and Whiz. It's just
yeah.
Yeah.
That just encompasses that sort of hanging out in fields and watching bands and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And it has got that. It's a real sort of Britpop sound. Maybe it's a bit of a lazy answer, but that's what I'm going to go with, I think.
Okay, I'm going to go for, and again, maybe it represents, I don't know if it represents the 90s, but it represents the 90s for me as I was young and carefree. I'm going to go for All Right by Supergrass.
Oh, good one. Yeah, good one.
Because it just summed up the youth and the optimism and the carefree attitude of the 90s before everything went to shit.
So we've all gone down the Britpop route.
We have, and yeah.
But I guess for us, that was the 90s.
We're all from England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, like we talked about with John Robb, something like Rock and Roll Star would be a good one as well. Just summing up that attitude.
Spaceman
would be good. Yeah. Or again, going back to last week's conversation, something like Firestarter, which kind of had like the dance thing and the guitars and the energy and everything like that, and the drug culture and the youth culture.
If I wanted to say to the alien, we're pretty hard, stay away, but I want your respect, I'd probably do that one.
Firestarter.
Prodigy song, yeah. Depends on what the message you want to give to them.
Yeah.
Well, you could have gone with Lifted. That's an upbeat, up-spirited song. Do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, it's timeless. It's timeless. It doesn't exist in the night. It exists outside of time.
It's transcended time.
I think Ocean Drive is more 90s.
Yeah, I would say so.
Essentially 90s,
Yeah.
I think we've tried to answer that anyway. So that do.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a question for Luke.
Oh,
from Tony Boyd.
All right. Hello, Tony.
Do you know him?
No. I think so. Hope not. Now I've said
All
that.
right. Oh, this is quite an interesting one. I had a read of this earlier. How do you get to play your records in your apartment in Tokyo? Do you use headphones? I'm in a similar apartment in Korea and struggle to get a decent listen twice a month. Any tips on getting more record listening time on speakers?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it's a really good question. Lots of apartments over here. The walls are very thin. I've got two answers. One, I listen quietly. So I do listen to a lot.
Do you listen
and
without
also,
prejudice?
Volume 1.
Can't wait for volume 2.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And also, I've got another record player in my office. I'm lucky enough to have my own office, so it's linked to a Bluetooth speaker, and I listen to a lot of music in my office, basically. And if I want to listen to something really noisy, I can just hook it up to my earphones from that if I want to. But it's a good question, and yeah, I don't have a good answer, but I listen quietly, and I listen to a lot of stuff at work, basically. So I basically take a bag of records into work every day and just.
If I was your boss, I would ban that record player in your office.
Do what I like.
Dave.
It's just out of order, isn't it?
What do you mean? But I can't concentrate. I can't work without music. And all of my music's on vinyl. So what do you do?
Typical corporate scumbag. You know, he don't care. He wants you to make money. He doesn't want you to listen to records.
But listening to records helps me make money because it makes me work hard. It makes me concentrate more to work.
They don't understand that. The people at the top don't understand that a happy worker is a better worker.
I know they don't. They don't.
They don't get
Not a
it.
clue.
He doesn't get it, does he? Look at him.
No.
He doesn't understand.
Corporate
probably
stooge.
Put someone in there to share your office with you.
Just so you couldn't play your records.
Well, I did have that. At a previous job. And the first guy I shared with, he was into a lot of electronic music. So I used to bring in a lot of like Aphex Twin and Square Pusher, and we used to listen to that together, which was cool.
Square Pusher. I remember them. They were good.
Did it cause problems though?
Well, I remember once we were both sitting really quietly, both really concentrating on our work, like opposite end of the office, just on our computers. And Square Pusher, big loader, it's like a mini album was playing, and there's this bit, and it just goes, "Who's the fucking daddy?" Suddenly out of nowhere, and we both looked at each other and laughed. It was a good moment, you know. But then he left, and this other guy came in, this Italian guy, and he wasn't having it. The only band he liked were Europe. Well, I did. I brought in the 7-inch of the Final Countdown, but that's all I could bring. But yeah, good question.
This is a question for all of us. He says, "I think we're the same age." He doesn't know anything because I'm younger. I'm younger than you two, so you know,
much younger.
Have you maintained an interest in music all your lives, or did you fall away from it and come back to it? He said he thinks he listened less in the 2000s. Maybe it was a digital and loudness wars factor. Not sure. Maybe he was just busy and doing other things. He's just interested in our take on it. He loves the podcast and generally enjoys the wangs more than the interviews.
Oh, mate, what a guy.
Although he likes both.
What's this person's name?
Tony Boyd.
Tony, what a guy. That's a really good question.
It is a good question.
Common pattern, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll all have slightly different answers. I carried on listening to... I got most heavily into music in the early to mid to late 90s, I guess. And then when I left university, it did kind of dampen down a little bit. Still listen to it, but not as fervently. But yeah, then the Mighty Main Street took hold, the band that I was in. So from the early 2000s, I was doing that. And then when all that sort of folded, yeah, I went for a long period until we started this podcast, really, of not listening to music much at all. Listening to a lot of talk radio, and yeah, until we sort of started this podcast, I did go for a very sort of
fallow period.
Yeah, fallow. That's what I was going to say, but I didn't know if it's the right word.
So how does it feel to be back? Back in the saddle?
It's good, but I'm back in it. I'm not rediscovering.
Back in the 90s.
I'm just rediscovering, yeah.
But you're discovering a lot of stuff that you didn't know in the 90s, right? So new to you is still new, right? So
it's nice to have it back in my life. I don't know why it kind of disappeared from it. Like I say, it didn't disappear totally, but I was just sort of didn't really buy any new stuff or listen to any new music or really listen to much old stuff. I just listen to it now and again.
I think relative to me, though, even your fallow period, you still had your finger on the pulse more than me.
Tell her your story then, Dave.
Well, I remember asking you about 2013, what you're listening to, and you recommended Bastille to me, and I really like that.
Who, me?
Yeah, you still knew what was going on.
I did kind of, sort of dipped in and out of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm obviously a bit different. I've always been listening to music, but I've never been someone that puts any effort into discovering music for myself. So I've been listening to pop music, basically. Yeah, I listen to, a lot of pop music. Katy Perry. I really like Katy Perry.
It's all right.
Yeah,
she's all right.
Good, man. It's good. But I remember I came round your house and you had a Bright Eyes CD, and I was impressed by that.
Yeah, that's more my wife. She's been more over, in the 2000s. What's the decade from 2011 to 20 called?
The 2010s.
Is it?
The noughties, not the 20s?
No, that's before.
I don't
2010s. Why are you not listening to me? It's called the fucking 2010s.
Yeah, but it's such a boring name. I can't believe it. Yeah, she's been a bit more of a connoisseur than me.
Well, that's good.
But one of the best artists for me from the 2010s has got to be Daft Punk.
I mean, I wouldn't put them as from the 2010s, but yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
No, but yeah, they had a massive album.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I guess the advent of Spotify has enabled everyone to listen to music a bit easier. Love it or
but that's
hate
what ruined it
it's
for
given
me,
a lot of
because
people access to it.
that ruined it for me, being someone who's not much of a discoverer of music. You just play what they dish you up, and that's what I was doing.
Oh, that's interesting, though.
So this has been, I've like heard a lot of new stuff since listening to your recommendations on this podcast.
That's not the only reason we got you on. We got you on because you're our mate, obviously. But that was the conversation we had. You said, "Well, I don't really know anything," and we're like, "Yeah, that's good. It's good to have someone that we can sort of."
Yeah, I sort of see myself as representing the ordinary bloke who's listening to the podcast.
That's good, man. That's good.
The ordinary rich bloke sitting in his country home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snacking on his brie. Man of the people.
What about you, Luke? You've always been a music man.
I've never stopped. It's pretty much dominated my entire identity since I was 14 years old. Yeah. There's been periods in my life where I basically didn't have any money, so I didn't really buy much music, but I was still making sure I knew exactly what was going on and what was coming out, and kind of I was buying music. I was just being much more focused on what I could buy. But yeah, I've never stopped, and if anything, my tastes have expanded. And I think when I hit 30, I was still pretty still like a narrowly focused kind of indie kid until I hit like 30 or something. After that, you become slightly less tribal and a bit more open. After that, I started getting into a lot more different genres, metal and noise and stuff like that. So yeah, basically never.
But have you ever had even a brief spell where you've gone off it, or maybe
just not interested in music?
Couldn't listen, or just couldn't listen for some reason?
No, not even for a day. No.
So this one's from Chris Old. It doesn't say who it's for, so I guess it's for all of us. He said, "What's your favourite and least favourite guitar-based music genres, including subgenres from the 90s?"
Mm-hmm.
Post-grunge, Stained, all that stuff. Creed, Puddle of Mud, Puddle of Shit.
But I mean, was that worse than new metal?
That's a difficult one. They're both really shit.
What kind of acts were being booked at Woodstock '99?
Yeah, all of the new metal stuff.
Yeah, that kind of kid.
Oh, that was awful. That was disastrous.
It was just it was horrendous. That whole shit scene culminated in that shit show of a festival, basically.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that then, new metal.
But was that worse than that acoustic stuff?
No, if someone said you've got to sit in a room and listen to Stained or Limp Bizkit, I'd have to say Limp Bizkit, so I'd have to go down the post-grunge route and get rid of that.
It's worse than new metal.
Yeah.
Right.
It's unlistenable.
I think, I think you're probably right. I think post-grunge is a good answer. Favourite then?
And my favourite is I'm going to go with grunge. That was I love the grunge scene. I liked everything about it, really. The style, the bands.
Dave?
I don't really know. I don't know, because you can't say Britpop because that's so
You can.
that's like too many.
You can. That's right, you can
Britpop's
say it.
all right.
We
That's
know
a
what you mean.
genre.
But I don't want to say Britpop
Just say
because
it.
it doesn't
Fucking
encapsulate
hell.
what I want.
Jesus.
So I'm going to say nothing.
Fine.
Right, Britpop for Dave then. And what's...
Mine's either... I'd probably say post-rock.
Okay, what's that?
Post-rock.
What's post-rock?
Oh, you know, for example, like Mogwai,
No.
or also bands like Slint, Godspeed You Black Emperor, just kind of making kind of guitar music a bit more interesting, a bit more ambitious, you know?
Is Ian Svenonius involved in that scene?
No, he wasn't in any post-rock bands, no. He's been in a lot of bands, but none of them were post-rock.
This is a good question, and I don't think any of us have got an answer because we just don't do it. But Chris Old asks, what song is most likely to get you up on a dance floor? 90s and non-90s?
Okay, let's say back in the day. Back in the day, what would have got you up?
Well, I remember down the Trek, and
Yeah.
Jump Around always used to get us up.
Good it. Yeah. Yeah.
I have memories of that every week. For anyone who doesn't know the Trek, it was the premier nightclub in Seaford.
Now defunct.
Now
It's a
defunct,
shithole.
yeah.
I'm going to go for The Only One I Know.
Ah, good one. Yeah, it's a good
Charlatans.
one.
Just for
Tav.
some reason. Yeah, that's my enduring memory of Pavilion
Yeah, I
Tavern,
remember that.
Indie Night. Just, again,
mine
like
too.
the people that were
Too.
slightly older, the people that were slightly younger, kind of got everyone together, man. And it's great.
Yeah, no, I do love that song. It's great. It's a good
And you could do
dance
like a bit of
floor
a
filler.
Tim Burgess. Yeah, it's great. Dave?
Dave?
I remember thinking of the Trek. I always got up to Nightcrawler's Push the Feeling On. Do you remember that?
Okay.
I love that song.
Wasn't
Let go. I
expecting-
don't remember that at all.
So you're sitting there, you got your WKD or whatever, and that comes on, and you're
That
just
didn't
up there.
exist.
I remember when Two Dogs came out. That was like revolutionary, wasn't it?
Hooch.
Yeah, Hooch. That was it. It's revolutionary, that stuff.
Okay, so David Jeffries got the next question, and this is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek one because of the question we asked. He said, which 90s band would you have liked to have been a member of? He didn't say and why, but
There's only one answer for me.
Family.
Main Street.
it wasn't 90s. It was more of a noughties band.
Oh, didn't you form in the 90s?
Yeah, the start of it was sort of 99, I guess. So, yeah, well, you could go with that, I guess.
It'd be Nirvana for me.
Ah,
They needed a fourth member.
They
Not
did.
good enough
They
enough.
had Pat Smears
Was he like their
in the
Bez
last
type person?
incarnation. No,
No, he joined them
incarnation, he was-
later on.
Oh, right.
Just because I think that they're amazing live. They still are, I think. I haven't seen them for a while, but Pop Will Eat Itself, I just think they're great.
Right.
I love that
It looks a lot of
vibe.
fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd go with that.
You could just slip in there and no one would notice because
Well, this is. I think that's probably why, because I could probably just get on there and sort of just shout stuff.
Okay, I've got an answer.
Yeah, go on.
I'll go for Faith No More.
Oh, good one. That's quite a mainstream answer.
I know, but I mean, they were super popular, but they kept it underground. They did what the fuck they liked. They were well respected, but also, you know,
it would have been fun hanging out with Roddy and Mike and stuff. as well,
yeah,
I
it would have
guess.
been cool. Yeah, and everyone liked them. So yeah, Faith No More. Although, I
good.
could have said a million bands, you know.
Yeah, that'll do.
I mean, I was going to say the Makeup. I was going to say Clinic as well. I was thinking for that answer. Honorable mention for Makeup and Clinic.
So this one from past guest Alex Boucher. Which brand do you regret not seeing live during the 90s?
For me, Nirvana.
I'd say Nirvana too.
Easy answer.
I thought it was obvious, but yeah, just in the historical context now, I just think. Dave?
I'd probably say, I was going to say Pulp.
But we went to see them, Dave. Yeah, I went. We went together. I came to Cardiff. It was like 2 days
Yeah, I was
after
gonna
the
say-
Brits incident.
Yeah, we did see him.
Yeah.
You know.
But no,
It was
regret.
great. It was great.
No regrets then. You've seen them, so you can't. What other band?
It'd have to be a band like I've discovered now, like
Screaming Trees.
Mega City 4.
well, they were on that Reading bill too. You read out, that
The Screaming
amazing.
Trees. Oh, the grunge year. That would
Yeah,
be good.
imagine going to that. So I'd like to have
Yeah.
gone to that.
I'll add Slint as well to my answer. I'd love to have seen them.
This is a good question from Lisa Dingle. See, I haven't really read through any of these. Which one of you gets edited out of the podcast the most? Or is it always a one-take success? No, it's not.
Well, Neil, you have to answer that because you're the editor-in-chief.
It's definitely not a one-take. I've taken fucking ages to edit these together. But most of it's pretty organic. We don't really edit anyone in particular out. There are some stuff that we perhaps say that we think...
I think it's more Luke censoring things that we've said.
Yeah, Luke does. He is our censorship.
I told you, I'm your diversity and inclusion supervisor.
I think you do need that. I'm not saying that me and Dave are like massively out of touch.
Massive misogynistic racists.
We're not.
Bit clumsy sometimes, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of the time, most of it's kept in, but we just sort of shorten. We have to condense it a little bit, otherwise it would just be hours long. So, but yeah, don't edit anyone in particular out. I think I try to give everyone a fair sort of. But yeah, it's definitely not a one take thing. Well, we record it in one take, but the editing.
The interviews are one take, aren't they?
Interviews are all left as they are. Yeah, they are just as they are. Yeah, and this is another one from Lisa Dingle. And more importantly, she said, "Has Dave got his tickets to see The Lighthouse Man and 90s chart topper Gabrielle in 2025. She hears tickets are selling fast."
I bet they are.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the podcast buys my ticket, I'll go and report on it.
We should make him do it.
Yeah, all right.
How much are the tickets?
They're probably expensive, aren't they? Those kind of adult entertainment stuff. Yeah.
How much is a ticket to Tundi these days?
Going to be 60 or 70 minimum, isn't it?
We're like media. We can get on the guest list, man.
Yeah. All right, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
So you haven't got a ticket yet, Dave?
I haven't got a ticket yet. And yet is unfair. To be honest, I've got no intention of buying a ticket.
I just read the next question. We're going to have to answer it. So this is from Austin Smith. He said, you had to dock with one of the other two. Which would you choose? Which would you choose and why?
Austin, you fucker.
Or is this something you've always practiced, having been mates for so long?
Wow.
We're going to have to answer it.
We're going to have to answer it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Neil. I mean, one of your nicknames was Flaky.
It's true.
And that's why it ain't you.
Not well. I'm gonna stick to my height thing. Me and Dave are more similar in height to me and you, Neil. So Dave's gonna be.
You'll have to dock with yourself.
No, you can choose. Who's your answer?
You want to
Neil?
fucking dock? I'll probably dock with you because I wouldn't have to see you face to face as much.
Yeah.
No. I mean, you know, it'd be quite it might be a bit uncomfortable. But you'll be fucking off back to Tokyo.
Oh, I thought you meant because I was shorter. You were kind of looking above my head.
Dave's the same, isn't he?
Yeah, we're about the same.
Right.
So, yeah, there you go. We have answered it.
I didn't enjoy answering it.
At least we were brave enough. Like, we put this question out into the group and it went silent. We thought we'd get loads of answers, but, you know, it's as easy as that.
There you go.
Just tell us.
I think the world's not ready for docking yet.
Good question, though. Good question. So the next guy, David Blackburn, we have to try and answer this quickly, I think, because we could go on for the whole podcast about this. But he wants us to create a dream band with vocalist, bass, drummer, lead guitar. And it's got to be between.
That's a wang in its own right.
Yeah, 88 and 94.
You want Kurt on vocals, surely.
Neil's going to argue for Lane, right?
I would, but I would say we haven't really got time to argue.
Phil Collins on drums?
He was a good drummer. Let's have him on drums. No, let's have him on drums.
No, let's not.
Imagine that Phil and Kurt in the same band.
Yeah, it'd be good.
I'm not having Collins in the band. But on grounds of cuntiness, Collins is out.
I'm going with Slash on guitar as well with Dave. So as there's three of us and it's a democracy, then he's in.
I mean, a bit obvious, but
on that logic, Collins is in.
True, Collins is in.
No, I get one veto. And I'm using it. Come on,
okay,
come on. But not on musical, just on grounds of cuntiness, not on musical value.
We'll have Slash on guitar. It is quite an obvious one, but he's an amazing guitarist. So Why not?
Yeah. All right. Slash on guitar.
Right. So but Luke's right. I'm not sure about Kurt.
But we'd want him for his songwriting prowess, though, wouldn't we? He was like the best songwriter of that time.
Okay, let's go with Kurt. Let's go with Kurt.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got
Vocals
Kurt
and
and Slash. Let's choose a drummer now then. I think it's got to be, what's his name from Faith No More?
Def Leppard.
No, he's only got one arm.
It's 3 feet, though. We need some Brits. Okay, bass player, let's have Morgan from the Senseless Things.
Yeah, he's the best bass player of all
That's
time.
a no-brainer, right? That's a no-brainer.
Often overlooked, probably the best bass player that's ever been, I'd say. Incredible bass player.
Yeah, well, again, as we discussed last, I don't know about this kind of stuff, but I take your word for it. Sounds good to me, man. Sounds
all right,
good.
So we just need a drummer now.
What's the drummer from Smash called? He's an excellent drummer, isn't he?
He's very good, yeah. What's his
And
name?
he drummed in These Animal Men, doesn't he?
That's right.
Rob.
Let's go Rob.
I was hoping for at least one female member.
Do you know any female drummers?
He drummed for L7.
Yeah, Dimitra. She's cool.
Janitra.
Or who's the drummer from Bikini Kill? Oh, Toby Vale, of course, Toby Vale. Yeah. Oh, let's have Toby Vale. Come on, former partner of Kurt Cobain. Well, they dated for a while.
Yeah. Well, okay. But yeah, so there'll be friction in the band if she's in it, because he's in it.
But they were together. They're friends.
Okay.
They work together well.
All right. So we got Kurt on vocals, Slash on guitar, Morgan on bass, and Tony on drums.
Toby
on drums. That's our dream band from the 90s. Take it or leave it. Yeah. We did our best. Okay, this next one's from Kate Sutcliffe. Well, she says she might have missed this in another podcast, but have any of you been in a band?
Neil?
Well, now you ask.
Oh, fuck,
I don't really.
Next question.
Okay, the next one's from.
Well, say answer it then.
But I was in a band called Main Street in the sort of 2000 to 2005. Good band, we did all right. 2 albums, yeah. Good times.
I have no musical talent whatsoever. Dave plays the guitar.
Yeah, I've never been in a band.
I think we've answered this one already. This is from Francesca Catherine Starr. I think we answered it in another episode, but following on from the Nirvana documentary on the BBC the other night, where were you when you found out that Kurt Cobain had died? I think we answered it in the Grunge special, but
we're in the hole in the wall, weren't we?
Me and Dave think we were in the whole wall. Luke claimed his mum woke him up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, you could be right. Don't know.
It was a huge impact though, right?
I think Dave Grohl said this as well. There was a kind of inevitability behind it, but it was still quite shocking. Maybe it's the way it happened with shooting yourselves
it's pretty full on, isn't it?
With a shotgun. Yeah, it's pretty...
yeah.
I was reading his suicide note earlier.
Oh, really?
Have you? I've never actually read it properly.
I used to have it on my wall.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
And it was addressed to his imaginary friend, wasn't it, that he had as a child?
Oh,
something like that.
Something, yeah. Yeah.
Also, he was pretty much like my first like hero, right? So to have them die, fuck, yeah.
I read a tribute from his daughter, Frances Bean, on Instagram the other day. It's really nice.
I saw that too as well.
Yeah, it's really nice what she said. It's a shame she didn't really get to spend any time with him, isn't it? We know him better than she did, really.
In some way, I was thinking it's kind of all of our fault that he died, because we were all looking to him as some kind of leader, and he just couldn't handle it.
Mental health back then wasn't really a thing. People didn't care about people with poor mental health. They just let them sort of suffer and die.
What he could have done, eh?
Yeah, it's just a shame on a musical level, obviously, but just he seemed like a really nice guy, It's just a shame, isn't it? Is there anyone that you really wanted to get on the podcast that's either never replied or turned you down? Who would each of our dream guests be? This is from Austin Smith.
Oh, I can answer that very quickly.
Well, we're still trying. We haven't given up on anyone.
No.
Well,
my dream guest, although I'd be too scared to interview them, is Kathleen Hanna from Bikini Kill. That's my number one dream guest. Yeah. I'd be terrified, though. It's just so cool. Yeah.
It's a bit cliched, but I'd love to have Liam Gallagher on. I think he'd be brilliant. If that happened, yeah. I think I'd shit myself.
He was a hero of yours, wasn't he, really? I think you saw him as a bit of a kindred spirit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What do you mean? In what way?
I think Neil modelled himself on Liam Gallagher.
I did do that. Yeah.
I was obsessed with
kindred spirit. He just copied him. But yeah.
Yeah. I've maintained a real sort of fondness for him all through the decades. I just think he's a really interesting guy. And he's got one of the best vocals of our generation.
So unique.
Do you remember Harry Enfield, the Teenagers? Kevin and Perry when they dressed up as Liam Gallagher.
Yeah.
That's what Neil used to do.
Yeah, I did. Look, right.
That's you, that is.
But I just think it'd be good to have him on.
Yeah,
I think it'd be good banter. Good banter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it would also be terrifying, I think, because he's such an icon, you know.
Dave?
What?
Who's your dream guest?
Oh, yeah. Well, we never get Tundi on now. Taking so much shit.
It's like another being. So, who's your answer?
I don't know. I forgot that it would come to me, this one. Fucking hell, I want to get bloody the guy out of the Blue Tones. He's a hero. I'm not allowed.
You have to do this live on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, that is my answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But apparently he's problematic.
I'm leaving this in, though. I think that's fair enough.
What if I dress up as him? I reckon if in the right light, I reckon I could probably get away with playing him.
One of our friends, Joe, went to see the Blue Tones the other night, and she sent me a picture. She said, "It looks just like Luke." He did.
I saw him in Litlington. Played at Litlington at the Plough and Harrow a few years ago. Wow. And I was, I didn't talk to him, but
Blue Tones.
I was at the bar next to him.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he did look a lot like Luke.
When we started the podcast, I did clip together a hilarious outtake where we got an email back from Leroy from The Prodigy.
Oh, that was good.
Quite excited. Mm-hmm. And he just said no. But he still came back to us. It would be great to. It would have been nice to have him on.
We can try again. We'll try again one day.
Yeah, but like I say, we haven't stopped. We do sort of, we aim quite high. Why not? You know, they can only say no. So we'll see. This is from Craig Scott. What is the most interesting fact that you have learned since doing the podcast? Well, that's quite a hard one.
That really is. Learned a lot.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. We've probably learnt more than you because you knew a lot.
I've learnt the most.
Dave's learnt the most.
So you go first.
Trouble is, I've got the worst memory.
Oh, we might have to come back to that one.
Yes, too. We're stumped. It's too good a question.
Leave it with us. We'll try and get back to you by the end of the episode. Let's go on to another one for now. Luke, this is for you. Richie Williams asks, how often do you wash your Pop Kid t-shirt, or do you have multiple copies?
I don't. I guess I don't. I mean, I've got a lot of t-shirts, so I probably wash it. I say once a month. It's the only one I've got.
What sort of heat do you wash it on?
Oh, this is an interesting fact, isn't it?
Huh?
They wash everything on cold in Japan.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, true.
That's
true.
good. I don't know why they don't do that here. I hate stuff getting. Well, I always use the economic wash, which is the coldest one. So
also, the washing machines are much faster over here as well. Like a full wash is like 34 minutes. I
use the washing machine in Lanzarote, 18 minutes.
Yeah, you can do a quick one. It's about that here, but usual one is 34 minutes, and no hot water. So I probably wash it let's say every 3 weeks, I guess, 3 to 4 weeks, and it stayed in good condition so far.
Remember when we were little, like when our mums did the washing on a Sunday or whatever, it used to last for hours, didn't it?
Oh, they still do over there.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We do it pretty quick.
Really?
Yeah. This one's from Craig Scott again. We failed on his last one, so is there a band you were not into in the 90s that you now have an appreciation for after these podcasts? Either a band mentioned by the interviewee or a band you interviewed. That is a good question. I've got an answer to that. I think. It's not because of the podcast. Is that what the question says?
From the podcast, let's say.
I'm going to sort of go a bit off piece with the question. So I think I've mentioned this before, but back in the day, I was never a massive Pearl Jam fan. But as the years have gone on, I now appreciate them a lot more, and I listen to Pearl Jam quite a lot now. So I'd quite like to go and see them live, but their tickets are about £1 million, so it's not going to. But yeah, they were a band that when 10 came out, I was always like, nah, don't like this at all. But now I think it's a great album. Decent enough answer, but it's nothing to do with the podcast.
I've got loads of answers for this. One, Mega City 4. I mean, I knew them, of course, but I hadn't really properly listened to them. I've got a renewed appreciation for EMF, especially their second album.
So your answer's much better than mine.
Also, Jesus Jones, I've got a renewed appreciation for. I knew the singles, but I'd never really gone any deeper than that. But listening to the albums for this, there's some really, really good stuff.
Yeah, they were good at Shine On too.
There you go. Stuff that bands have mentioned that we've talked about before, like Age of Chance. I put a post up a few weeks ago. Les Thugs, a French kind of punkish indie band.
Fuck, so you've answered the question properly.
So I've found loads of cool stuff from doing the podcast. Up yours, Neil. Dave, beat that.
I'm just going to edit yours out.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I keep going on about the Screaming Trees, but
you do. Yeah, that'd be your answer.
But I've libraried quite a few albums, but that one I've keep going back to, that Suite of Oblivion album. But also one of the albums I'm listening to a lot is Smash's latest album. It's called Goodbye Welwyn Garden City. I love that album.
It's a great album.
It's really good, right?
That's all the bands have done recent albums, and that's got to be one of my favourite.
Yeah, it's great.
Recent albums.
Oh, good hit, mate. Good answer.
Yeah, I said that at the time. I think it might be better than Self Abused. It's a great album. Really good. It's
just much more up my street and more what I want to listen to now. The new Shed 7 album's brilliant as well. I've been listening to that
it is
again
good.
And again.
You're a fucking Shedhead though, aren't you?
Yeah. But with Shed 7, that's like more of the same.
That's true.
Like great stuff, but it's like it was then. But the Smash album is just
right,
they're different, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
I'm really pleased that you like it. Okay, so this one's from Richie Brown again. Are there any indie bands you love, but there's just one song you detest by them? For me, that's Disco 2000 by Pulp. He just can't stand it.
Oh,
that's
man.
what he says. Richie Brown just can't stand it.
That's fair.
It's quite a good question, though, isn't it?
It is.
Guns N' Roses, Get in the Ring.
I love Get in the Ring.
It's so stupid.
Little ass.
I had it was on my T-shirt on the back. Get in the Ring.
Yeah. Oh man, it is a silly song. You're right. It really is. It really is. Yeah, I like it though.
Oh, I know. I have got one, and it's going to be quite controversial because everyone loves it. But I hated, and I don't know why I didn't say it maybe I was too scared to bring it up. I hated Easy by Faith No More. Their cover of Easy. I thought
good one.
Fucker. What do you mean?
I'm with Neil.
It's just
with
not
Neil,
Faith.
man.
It's just not my bag. No, it's not my bag at all.
Oh man,
just wasn't there
it's just
either.
The same, isn't it?
Where did it come from?
That's why it's so good.
2v1, so we're right.
I can't think of a good answer for this. The only thing that's coming into my head is our discussion on Definitely Maybe and Dixie's Dinner.
Go with that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I mean, it's a terrible song, so it ruins an almost perfect album. So yeah,
okay, that's a good answer. Well, 3 good answers. Well done, us. Is there a 90s band or album that you just don't like, no matter how many times you listen to it and try to give it a go? That's from Dave from Britpop Buzz, another podcast, Britpop Buzz.
Brilliant.
Dave from
good
Britpop.
question.
I've got one.
Come on in.
It's not going to go down well, but at least we've already done the interview.
Go on.
Go on in. Mega City 4.
Animal Men.
These animal men.
Yeah, man. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair.
You've tried.
I like Mega City 4. I don't know why you keep going on about that. But
Because
Well,
you're the
you
one
keep
that said
going
you
on
didn't
about
like
it.
That's interesting about these Animal Men. I think they didn't write a bad song. That's really interesting to hear.
There you go. Dave's answer. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's as we say, music's subjective.
Oh yes, I've got one. Of course I have. Of course I've got one. And I respect them as a band and everything they do, but I've never been able to listen to Blur. I've never been able to never been a fan.
What?
No, I've never been a fan. Never been a
You?
fan.
What the?
Never
This is all
listened. Never
coming
had
out
any.
now. What the fuck?
No, I've never had
Jeez.
any of their albums or anything.
Oh, you're missing out.
I
man.
do. I like them as people and as musicians, and I would love to love them. But the music for me is just
So
yeah,
shocked.
it's not. Wow.
Right, my answer, and I don't dislike them, but I'm going to say My Bloody Valentine.
Okay.
Only because they're spoken of with such reverence,
They
you know.
are,
That
they are.
you know, it's spoken of in hushed tones, and you know, and I've got the albums, and I listen to them, and they're okay. They're not bad as such, but they're not all that. You know, they're okay.
for me, that band, I don't mind them, but the name is it's one of the best names of a band.
Yeah, it's great.
Right,
And I think
It's a good
they've
one.
got such a good name, it's hard to sort of diss them.
Yeah,
Whereas
Yeah.
with Lighthouse Family, you know,
yeah.
they've got a terrible name, but it's such a good
Yeah.
band.
Dave, we've got next one's just for you. It's from Austin Smith again. It's really misogynistic question. Don't know if I can ask it.
Your supervisor's standing by. Come on.
Okay, here we go. Dave lived in Sweden. Is this because he's got a hot Swedish wife? If so, is that the reason you two gang up on him? Because you're jealous that he used his charm and got to woo a belter. Also, when is
Answer
Dave
this.
going? Also,
This is for me to answer. Isn't it?
when is Dave going to do an interview?
So the answer is yes, and probably never. I fucking suck at interviews, and full respect to both of you guys.
He has done some interviews.
Yeah, you have done a few.
I just sat there. I just sat there. But if we ever do more like of a podcast, maybe on software engineering or something, we have to talk to, you know, Bill Gates or something like that. I'd
that's
be
going
up
to
for doing that because
Right,
I
well,
know
you know.
a bit more about the subject.
But following on from that question, Dave's wife is lovely. We're not jealous, but she is a lovely lady.
Yeah.
He's a very lucky man. So this is a question from Matt Jammy, but it's a question for each of us individually, like a question each. Neil lists me 3 of your favourite power ballads. He says he's
that's
not
a good
that into them, but he does like Cheap Trick and REO Speedwagon. So REO Speedwagon is my favourite power ballad. Keep on Loving You, that is my favourite power ballad of all time.
Fine choice.
Foreigner, I Want to Know What Love Is, classic.
Good one. Yeah.
And then
Supply?
Toto. No, Toto.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, Air Supply.
Wait, hey.
Oh, yeah, Air Supply. All I love, that's a good one. It'd be between that and Toto Africa.
Cutting Crew.
Cutting Crew.
Died in your arms tonight. Say it, say. I'm sorry, mate. I'm not trying to confuse you. Just trying to get you the best possible list, man. I'm trying to help you out.
Cutting Crew. I do. Cutting Crew was always one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Cutting Crew, Foreigner, and REO Speedwagon. There you go.
Solid.
Will they all
Nice,
make
mate.
it
Nice
to the
one.
playlist?
I fucking hope so.
I hope so. I like power ballad.
Luke, what's been your 3 favourite interviews so far? And as a bonus question, your favourite new music discoveries this year so far?
I'm going to give you 5. Not in any particular order. I can't get it down to 3. I mean, I've loved all of them. Okay, but in no particular order. Well, Roddy Bottom from Faith No More. That was just that's an incredible thing to happen to my life, basically.
Yeah, it's a shame it wasn't a little bit later on, and it was very early on, and we didn't really know what we were doing.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better interview. Yeah,
but it was still
But it was
good.
just-
That's all right.
yeah, just the
You
honour.
needed
of
that. You needed that
bringing it in.
to, you know, change your life.
Well, to be fair, when people like Roddy says, yeah, "I'll do it," we knew that we were onto something, and we could do it. So yeah.
I think it had to be early on.
Next, Hatham from Censor.
that's a good
I
one.
can't really explain why. He was just a cool fucking
really
guy, man.
interesting.
He just, really philosophical and interesting and good to talk to, you know. So that's one.
Yeah.
Next, Ed from Smash. Again, Smash were just like a massive band for me. It felt really personal, and just loved chatting to him. Yeah. Next, we haven't put it out yet, but Biss was.
We haven't seen. Me and Dave haven't seen it.
It's not. Well, I think I embarrassed myself a little bit. It's probably not a very good interview. But of everyone that I kind of messaged Neil afterwards, of everyone we've interviewed, I really wanted to be mates with Biss.
Why don't you become mates with them?
I don't think they want to, but they were just really fucking cool, man. And they were into the same kind of stuff that I'm into.
If you're listening, if anyone from Biss is listening, Luke wants to be your friend.
I really do. I really do. Yeah. Just for a real affinity. The kind of stuff that they were into was the kind of stuff I'm into. They even mentioned like fucking, without me mentioning Ian Svenonius, they mentioned Nathan Ulysses as one of their inspirations, you know?
Let's just talk a bit about you as a mate. Then they might be more interested. We'll
sell me to them.
No, you know.
Tell them why they should be mates with me.
He knows his stuff about music. You know, you always have interesting conversations about music.
You go around and you just talk non-stop for an hour about, his latest band.
Yeah, he'll play you all this shit that you won't want to listen to.
You won't be able to get a word in edgeways.
I think that's going to work. Thanks, guys. I think you sold my friendship. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
And the last one is Mambo Taxi. She was really, really cool, and just felt really at ease chatting to her. And we got into some really cool topics, and I loved it. Yeah, that's my top 5.
Good answers, yeah. But they're all great interviews. But
not to take away any other interviews, but they were the ones I enjoyed the most personally.
I mean, Matt doesn't give a shit about mine and Dave's favourite interviews. So
no.
But he does give a shit about this, Dave. Why the Lighthouse Family, and what's been your favourite read or film this year so far?
Well, why the Lighthouse Family? I think I explained that in episode 1. He said only joking afterwards, but we still want an answer. We still want an answer. And, an accidental comment about liking a song, and then that's what you're labelled with forever.
But what was it that we take the piss, but you started it by liking the Lighthouse Family? How did that come about?
Yeah, I think I've already said that in another episode.
No, you haven't. You've never answered why
it was
you
a
liked
sunny,
the Lighthouse Family.
sunny May day at Cardiff.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
It came on the radio.
Yeah.
It's just a brilliant time.
Yeah, I
get it. It's fully justified, man. It's great.
And that was probably the first time I heard Ocean Drive as well. So it's not often a song you hear the first time you like it.
You were just like,
only
what
a few
the
songs.
fuck is this? I've never heard anything like this before.
Most songs takes a couple of listens before you
changed forever.
Yeah. Bolt of lightning. It's great.
Yeah. So and then what's your favourite read or film this year so far?
Yeah, I got inspired when Luke was saying he was watching all the Oscar films. And that night we tried to watch, what's the one where the outside Auschwitz?
Oh, Zone of Interest.
Yeah, we wanted to watch that. We were going to watch that, but it cost like £20 to rent.
Fucking hell.
So because it was still at the cinema. So I rented. It's about like someone who dies in the Alps.
Alive?
No, someone dies in France, and then the film is about sort of the case surrounding that.
Okay. Oh, Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about
that. Oh, that was good.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he was meaning something music related. I don't know.
No, it didn't specify. No. Do you remember Alive though? That was how we were.
It's
when
a big
everyone
one,
ate each other.
Yeah. They ate the bum.
Yeah,
that's it. Bonus question for the three of us from Matt Jammy. What's the 3 best gigs that you've attended, either individually or together, or the most memorable? But maybe just one. Let's just do one each.
Let's do one together. We answered one about gigs earlier. Let's do one together.
The Levelers then, wasn't it? Because I think that's one of the only ones we went to together.
We
didn't go to many gigs together. Yeah, we did that. But I'd say the Levelers one. It's a good gig.
Levelers, December 92.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
We all loved that one.
Quick fire questions.
Okay, so we got to wind this up. So Debbie Morris asks, This is a bit of an odd one because we didn't really live. Well, Dave lived in London, but favourite London club of early to mid to late 90s.
I went to the Camden Underworld a couple of times.
Dave did.
I did.
Yeah, Camden Underworld.
We all went out
Camden
together
sometimes.
there, I think,
Yeah,
once.
Yeah, we did go to the Camden Underworld.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do
Next
that.
question.
This is a good one from Marcus O'Riordan. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, but he's got a couple of questions, but the first one is a good one. It's scrunch or fold. I presume he's referring to toilet paper.
Good one.
Really?
Fold.
Yeah,
Fold.
it's an age-old question, isn't it? I fold.
Yeah. Sure.
All fold.
Next. All fold.
Fine. Good. But he's got another question. This is a good one. This is a good one. He said, what are your 5-year plan for the podcast?
World domination.
Well,
He also said, when you get to Wang 99, is that it? Or are you going to carry on? We hope you do. Or are you thinking that far ahead with the threat of World War III? With all that bullshit geographical events kicking off? Or do you think there'll be diplomatic efforts and peaceful resolution to this? So it's a two-part of that, isn't it?
Sure.
The podcast.
Fate of the podcast in the apocalypse.
I don't know, 5 years, we'll be in our 50s then.
so,
Easily. Very, way into our 50s. I guess we'll keep doing it until people stop listening, right?
Yeah.
but let's say if Luke died, we wouldn't be able to continue. Or Neil.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
If I died, you'd have to get a new Dave.
I don't think we would. We just wouldn't replace you.
Yeah. You're irreplaceable, man. But we'll carry on, of course.
Yeah. Might take a week
no,
off.
it's what you would have wanted.
But what about the rest of it? Will there be a dip? It's not going to be resolved, is it? We're fucked. Unless someone serious steps up to lead us, we are doomed.
And on that note, thanks for listening.
But we didn't really say about the podcast. Keep telling your mates, and we'll keep.
It's up to
doing
you.
it.
It's not up to us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the figures start going down, you get a bit disheartened and you want to quit, and that'll be it.
Yeah, so it's up to you. Keep spreading the word, and we'll keep doing it. We haven't made any long-term plans, but we haven't got any plans to stop it anytime soon. So, and he also asked the last gig that we all went to together. I can't remember. It must have been that Essential Festival. We don't really go to gigs together, do we?
Yeah, we'll have to change that, won't we?
We did have tickets. Remember, I forced you to go to a Hotel Lux gig like 3 years ago, and we bought tickets to it. But then the pandemic hit, so we couldn't go. So we were going to go and see Hotel Lux at the Albert.
That's right. Pandy killed it for us.
I had to cancel my trip, so we couldn't go.
That's
So,
right.
but next time I come over, we'll definitely have to find something to all go to.
We
Right?
should. Maybe we can all go to Shine On together one year.
Oh, mate, that would be good.
All right. Thanks for all your questions. We when
good.
we did it, we thought, oh fuck, what if no one asks anything? And we didn't want to come across as a bit self-obsessed because we're genuinely not. We just thought it'd be a nice idea for this wang. Thanks for all your questions. Really appreciate you taking the time. Hope we've answered them all for you. We might do this again if it goes down well. We might do it again. We'll see. But yeah, that's it for this one. If you are watching, then please do give it a thumbs up. Comment below. Ask us any other questions that we haven't covered, and we'll try and answer them below. But if you're listening, rate, review. It really does help the podcast get found so that we can grow it. Luke, penciling away for the mixtape.
I'm doing it now. I forgot to make notes. I'm so bad at remembering what we talked about. But I'll knock something up for a playlist.
Just so people are aware, we banned Luke from using his pen this episode because he clicks it, and it was getting a bit annoying. So he's kindly reverted to a pencil.
It's like the mythical story of the Americans spending thousands of dollars to develop a pen that works in space, and the Russians took a pencil.
Is that true?
I don't know if it's true or not. I don't think it is, to be honest, but it's a good one.
That's a good fact, and that reminds me, we forgot the fact
Oh,
question.
we did.
Oh, come on then.
Come on, something, anything.
Well, I mean, I didn't know Kermit had died and come back to life before we.
That's true. Yeah,
That's a good fact
that
to
was a
know.
good
I didn't know
fact.
he'd had his last rites read to him. That was
That's
good.
a good one.
That's good. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dave, finish it off.
See you in a minute.